Hey guys, welcome back. Bear with me, I totally forgot to set up my microphone. Let me try and set that up. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I am going to set up the mic, which I should have done before starting the stream. I don't know why I didn't. Just spaced it. Can you guys hear me? Apparently my mics don't work. I tried both, and since I have Bluetooth mics, they are not working. And that's what I get for not checking my stuff to see if it was working or not. Okay, let's see. Bear with me a minute. All right, guys, so welcome back. As you can tell, still here at my old home. Still haven't been able to move. I've had a lot of things going on, and one of those being that we got sick. So we had the flu last week, and it was mostly my wife and my second child that had the flu. And this week, it's my other, my oldest and my youngest. So the oldest and the youngest, they tested positive for influenza B. And so thankfully I've been okay. The only thing that I've been suffering with is just minor headaches and fatigue, which I do believe that I did catch it, but possibly since I do have the vaccine. Maybe it did its job. It just didn't hit me the same. But my family has been suffering with the flu for the last 2 weeks, so we haven't been able to fully move out yet. We're hoping that this weekend we can finally just move. We also had a blizzard last week, last weekend. So it was all kinds of crazy stuff going on last weekend. And as you can see, as I said, we are still here at my old home, but we will be moving soon. So next week, for sure, you will see us in the new home. But for now, we're still doing the last stream here in this one, and until we move into the other one. But with that being said, hopefully everybody's doing good. Let me chime in, see the chat, see who's in here. Let's see, who do we got? We got William Hertz, 4Jim44, Pat Z, Cynthia Wesley, Handsome Stone, Val Black Cat's Rule. Who else do we have? Pat Z, I think I mentioned you. Rick, Chris McGee, hello. Who else do we have here? I think that is it for now. I don't see anybody else. Cast Iron Fanatic. Howdy, how are you guys? So if you guys saw the title of this live, we are going to be talking about the Skillet. I also posted a a photo of the skillet and why I believe that this is possibly a BlackLock. Now, I know a lot of people, they don't like, calling certain things a certain thing when there's nothing to back it up. But I was reading an article from Southern Cast Iron, which is, I think they have a magazine. They also do blog posting and all that stuff. And so, yeah, they're very well versed in cast iron. And they did an article about the BlackLock. And I think it was Lodge also had something to do with that article, along with I think the world's largest Lodge cast iron collector. I forget his name, but I was reading the article and I was just looking at the possibilities of BlackLocks, and obviously there isn't much information on BlackLock because of the fire in 1910. But I do believe that this one here, I mean, that's just my assumption, that the skillet that I do have here with me is indeed a BlackLock. But obviously that could be a very controversial topic. As I mentioned, a lot of you, not a lot of you, but most of you would agree with me that, if there's no proof, then we can't call it that. So as much as I would like to call it a BlackLock, I believe it is a BlackLock. I mean, we still have to say it's a Southern Mystery Skillet until otherwise. But I have seen even on Lodge at their cast iron museum, they do have a BlackLock. And the BlackLock that they showcase looks just like the No.7 that I have here. But that's just something that I wanted to talk about. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? As I mentioned, if you guys haven't seen that post, I did a post where I showcase the skillet that I have, along with a couple photos from the Southern Cast Iron magazine, or that article post. You can find it on the web as well. If you search up BlackLock, Southern Cast Iron usually comes up, and they're the ones with the information. But with that being said, what do you guys think? Let me showcase the cast iron in question. Now, I did just get them out of the oven. I was giving them a round of seasoning. So here is the No.7 that is in question, that I believe that is indeed a BlackLock. It's still hot. I guess it's not too bad. But the handle is one of the giveaways that looks very, very similar, along with the raised, maker's mark, or the molder's mark, along with the outer heat ring. And the No.7 here, as you can tell, that also has to be one of the indicators that you have a BlackLock. It's the outer heat ring, so this heat ring here, along with the raised molder's mark, and the style of the handle, the T here. That's usually how you can identify these to be BlackLock. But as I mentioned, I gave this a round of seasoning right now, and it's still warm, so I touch a couple of areas and it still burns my hand. But I think it looks great. It wasn't in bad shape when it just needed a good cleaning. Nothing serious. I didn't even have to put this in a lye bath or anything of that sort. All I did was just give it a good cleaning, a scrub with vinegar, get rid of that surface rust, and do my best to just restore it as it is. As I mentioned, it was very, in very good shape. Let's just say that. Put it that way, that it was in great shape. All it needed was some good seasoning and a little bit of a scrub. But what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with me that this is possibly a BlackLock, or do you guys just think we should just call it a Southern Mystery Skillet? I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. We also have, this one's hot. Yeah, this one's a little bit warm. We also have a single notch here, No.7 as well. And what I find hilarious about this skillet, as you can see, single notch right there. What I find hilarious is that this handle is tiny. It does not match the size of the skillet at all. I don't know why Lodge. This feels like a handle for a 6 and not even a 6, possibly like a 4, a 5. Definitely not a size 7 handle, but the handle is almost comical. It's very small compared to the size of the pan, and you can't really see it here on the video. But if you were to hold it, very very small. And I don't have large hands, but you can see here, my whole hand covers that little tiny little handle, which, as I mentioned, I find it to be funny. But I got this one from Cast Iron Mike, and I was very happy because I didn't have a 7, and so this one was my first 7. And as I mentioned, this one is a single notch. But even so, I think you can see some similarities here. So definitely this one was after the foundry had burned down, which was in 1910. And you can see that even the 7, even the underside with the molder's mark here, obviously it had changed. The heat ring had changed, but it does look the same. Even the pour spouts are nice and wide. And to me, they look very similar. So that is why I, wanted to talk about this skillet here. Very happy to own it. It's a very beautiful pan. And I got this, as many of you might know, my brother loves doing yard sales and all that stuff. So he'll pick some things for me once in a while. Not every time, but this one I thought was in great shape and easy to fix, easy to clean. So I found the time to do it. And sure enough, I did a little bit of research, and I had seen already initial skillets. That's the other, indicator, or the other way these skillets are called, initial skillets or Southern Mystery skillets, or as Cast Iron Chaos likes to say, UFOs. But as I did more research, the more that I figured that this might be a BlackLock. So with that being said, let me take a look at the chat, so I can see what your guys' thoughts are. And sorry for the poor audio. I totally forgot to charge my mics, so forgive me for that. Cynthia Wesley says, that is a very old skillet. Yes, I agree. Rick says, it's beautiful either way. I agree. Val's Black Cat's Rule says 7s are nice for single large pancakes. Yeah, and I agree. Actually, I enjoy making my pancakes in this size skillet. So if it's either a 6 and above or 7s that I like using for single large pancakes. But if you're going to be doing small little ones, you possibly need like a 12-inch and higher. So either a 10 or a 12 would be a great size. Handsome Stone says, I have an initial skillet, possibly a recast, but it is the same size and looks off of a similar Volrath. Yeah, Volrath is not as popular, not very well known. Volrath, I'm sorry, is still in business. They don't really do cast iron anymore. They do have a carbon steel line. But they do a lot of other cooking utensils or restaurant style cooking. So they don't really focus for housewares at all. But they had Dutch ovens, they had skillets, and many other things as well, I believe, that was cast iron. I think they stopped in the 40s or 50s, and they just continued with the restaurant style cooking utensils and things of that sort. But I've been eyeing a Volrath. I've seen the Dutch ovens. I do like the Dutch ovens. They're pretty unique. They're a bit different than the standard Wagner Ware or Griswold Dutch oven, but I haven't found myself one. And if you find one on eBay or Etsy, you are going to pay a premium price. Reason being is that obviously eBay takes their portion and all that stuff. So shipping costs and all that. So they are going to be more expensive, but I haven't found anything around my area, so I haven't been able to pick one up. Let's see, what else? William Hurt says, did you see any BlackLock lids? No, I have not actually, William Hurt. Do they have any I don't, any specific ones that you know of? Because I don't know much. I just started looking into BlackLock, and even though I have the new stuff from Lodge, there isn't much information on the original BlackLock. For Jim 44 says, is there a new stove? I do have a new stove, not here. This is my current one. But I did get a new one that is the standard size, which is 30-inch. This one here is a 36-inch stove. But I am moving to a brand new house, a new build. And that one there, I didn't have the options to upgrade to a larger stove. So I since everything moved so quickly, we signed within the month. I think within a month and a half, we did all of it. Less than 20 days, we did most of the paperwork. So it was pretty quick. And as I mentioned, everything was pretty much done. Everything was set. So what was there was there, and so I kind of got stuck with that. So standard size stove, but I did get a upgraded stove. I went and purchased that myself, and yeah. So I took a photo. If you guys look in the community tabs or in the posts, you guys can see the stove that I'm talking about. Also, you can see the post that I've done about Southern Cast Iron and their article on the BlackLock series, in case you guys want to see that. Cynthia Wesley says, my dream would be to hunt one time with Luis's brother, but do he spend wisely? He does. He's very... My brother he won't buy anything unless he feels like it's worth it. So most of the vintage iron that I own has been purchased by my brother, and none of it has been more than $50. He has not paid for a single item. The most expensive, I think, was the hammered combo Dutch oven. That was a Griswold, and that's the seller didn't want to go any lower. He and I think my brother got it for $35. That was the most expensive that he got, I think, from what I recall. That he bought something for me at a yard sale. So, but $35 for a hammered Griswold, what is it, combo cooker, or the hinged combo, lid and skillet. Yeah, that's what he ended up getting me, and it's a very nice piece. But he doesn't like spending very much. I'm being honest with you guys. He also found the number 14 Griswold, the large block logo. He found one of those for me, and I think, as I mentioned, also about $25 to $35 from what I recall. It wasn't very expensive, but or if anything, that one might have been about $50. That one I think was about $50, but that was the Griswold large block logo number 14. So if you guys do see those on eBay, I mean, they go for like $700, $800. And yeah, I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of ridiculous. But people want to make money off of those. And there are people out there that do purchase them. And, that's how things work on eBay. That's how they work on resellers with resellers. So, and no hate at all, because I am also an eBay seller. And no hate with anybody from Etsy either. I love Etsy. They have great stuff. Cast Iron Kev, also from Etsy. If you guys haven't seen him, quick shout out to him. He has a lot of great stuff. He's always in the cast iron community. So Cast Iron Kev, he does a great job with restorations, and he is a reseller. So, but anyway, a little sidetracked there. But as I mentioned, yeah, there's all these videos that I've seen that talk about, the initial skillets, but not much information on BlackLock. I've seen just Southern Mystery or initial skillets, but I haven't been able to find much information on BlackLock, except for that article that I read on Southern Cast Iron. So if you guys want to read that, you guys can. As I mentioned, just type in BlackLock Southern Cast Iron, and you guys can read that article. I think it's a pretty interesting read. If you guys haven't seen it, I do recommend that you give it a quick read. Hey guys, Huey, good to see you here, Huey. Cast Iron Kev, oh, I see, he's here. I'm just here for the controversy. Yep. As I mentioned, we're talking about the the No.7 here, and I did, say that this most likely is going to be a bit controversial in the sense that nobody's going to be willing to call this a BlackLock, since we have no proof. There's no proof whatsoever of what the BlackLock skillets looked like. But to me, I want to say with what's out there, with the articles, what Lodge has posted on their website as well, and what they've said that what their skillets were like, I want to say this is one of them. It might not be a authentic BlackLock, or it might not even be BlackLock at all. But the distinguishing features of a BlackLock is the outer heat ring, which this one does have, the pronounced initials, and also the T here on the handle. It's not pronounced. It's very low profile. And the other thing would be that they were numbered on the top. So those are indicators of a BlackLock. And if you guys read, as I mentioned, that article from Southern Cast Iron, even from their own website, from Lodge, you guys will see that most of the ones that they showcase, they look just like this. Those are the indicators. And I've seen some other ones, guys. I've seen the Southern Mystery Skillets that look similar to this, and they're recasts. But they have either the ring on the inside, like this one here, like my Lodge. The ones that I bumped into, they have the ring inset, so it's not on the edge. It insets on the bottom of the skillet. And this one is a Single Notch Lodge. You can see the notch right here. It's not marked, but we do know that this is a Lodge for that single notch. Those are the indicators for the Lodge, along with the molder's mark here. But I wanted to showcase both of these. As I said earlier, very similar in many things. And to me, as I said, the controversy is that a lot of people don't want to call these BlackLock skillets, but I do. And it's my opinion that this is an authentic BlackLock, but there's many out there that won't, and that's fine. For me, I want to say I want to say that I do own a vintage BlackLock, so that's what I'm going to call it. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts? Val's Black Cat's Rule says, maybe a BlackLock, but how does it cook? I actually used it this morning to make a avocado toast for my wife. And to be honest, it cooked really, really well. I haven't made... if you guys have seen, for goodness sakes, Gordon Ramsay. If you guys have seen the way he cooks his eggs, when he does scrambled eggs, he'll use creme fraiche, which creme fraiche is just another word for sour cream. So he uses that, and he'll mix it in with his scrambled eggs, and it makes them very almost pillowy, they almost look like they're not cooked properly, but they are. They're not clumped up, in large chunks. They are very smooth, very silky, and the reason why is for that creme fraiche. The creme fraiche gives it that extra fat. So that the eggs can emulsify together in a sense, and become silky and not become chunks and not chunky. So I made it that way this morning with the BlackLock skillet. We're gonna call it BlackLock. I made it this morning with the BlackLock, and it actually did a great job. And I had overheated it in the beginning, so I waited for it to cool down. And once I let it cool down, I turned off the heat. I placed some tab of butter, a little portion of butter in there, a little knob, and then placed the eggs in there. Started stirring. That's what you got to do with that style. You got to stir them fairly quickly, and sure enough, it did really well. No issues. There was a bit of sticking, and you know what? It wouldn't have hurt if I would have added a bit more butter, but it turned out great, and the seasoning was intact. No issues there. So it cooked really well. It heats up, I want to say, fairly quickly, because it's not thick. That's one thing that I've realized about this one here, is that even the bottom is fairly thin. The side walls are thin. Just all around, it's a very lightweight skillet. So it cooks really well. The modern Lodge, the single notch, it does have a thicker bottom, and you can feel it because you can feel the weight, and you can even kind of hear it. You know, the bottom does feel, it feels definitely thicker, and it is actually heavier than the BlackLock version. Let me see if you can, yeah, you can hear the difference. So if I tap this one, there's still that small little resounding sound at the end versus this one where it's deeper. So as I mentioned, the bottom of the single notch definitely thicker. The sidewall is a bit thicker as well. But overall, I want to say very, very similar in size, very similar in design. And that's a Lodge, and we know that's a Lodge because that's the single notch. That one there might not be classified as a BlackLock for many, but for me, as I said, might be controversial, but I believe it is a BlackLock. My only question is, and Cast Iron Kev, I think that the question would be aimed towards you. Why don't you guys like calling these skillets BlackLock when you guys restore and sell these? I know you've most likely have come across one of these before, but why haven't you guys, put possible BlackLock or anything of that nature? Is it for the controversy behind it? I would like to know. If you can, let me know. But anyway, those are the two skillets that I wanted to showcase. And I also want to do a quick update on the other skillets that I've been showcasing on the channel with the short videos that I've done. So we're going to move on with that. Now, if you guys have any questions or you want to see more of the BlackLock skillet that I have or the Lodge, let me know and I'll show them again. Cold Steel says, I'm 90% sure it's a BlackLock. I would agree with you. I believe so as well. And I own a I don't have it here with me, but I own a Southern Mystery skillet. But you can tell that it is a recast, as someone else here said. I can't remember, and I'm really sorry who had mentioned that they had a recast. You can tell the recasts because they are very, very poor quality. This one does not look poor quality because the one that I have, the handle is just, it has a lot of issues here in the hanging hole. The casting of the number is just really bad. The underside also really poorly casted, and the letters are usually not as pronounced as they are in this one here. And it's just very pitted all over the place. This one, it doesn't look like that at all. So this one looks like a higher quality pan versus the Southern Mystery or the initial skillets that I've bumped into. Cast Iron Kev says, controversial topic. Yes, I agree. Cynthia Wesley says, I think BlackLock, but I wouldn't put my life on the line. And it's all this is agreeable. I agree with you guys. But I'm gonna call it a BlackLock because I think it is. And if in the future I find out it's not, still doesn't mean that it's not a great pan. These skillets they've lasted this long because they're obviously made out of iron, and people have been cooking with these for a very long time. And even though they made them perhaps as throwaway items, they've outlasted the stoves, the wood-burning stoves, and these have actually stuck around longer than these stoves. The stoves most likely got repurposed for something else. So I'm happy to own this piece of history there. And whether, as I mentioned, whether that is a BlackLock or not, for me, I want to say that it is. So, but I just wanted to have a stir up the feathers, as people like to say, stir up controversy here to see what you guys think. I figured it would be a good topic to talk about. But with that being said, let's move on to some updates. All right, guys. So if you guys recall, this was the BSR chef skillet that I showcased, which needed some good seasoning, and boy, has this thing seasoned up really well. You can't really tell here in the on the camera, but boy, does this thing hold seasoning. It holds so well. Now, I don't know exactly the when this was made, if it was prior to the Century series, or if it was Red Mountain series. It does not have any kind of information, nothing on the underside, no maker's mark, no nothing. But this thing cooks so well and it holds seasoning so well. I did a frittata in this, and I added some cherry tomatoes. I added some acidic ingredients, and it held its seasoning. It came out, it slid out like nothing, and it's been doing a great job. And I've been using it off camera almost on a daily basis. I've actually fallen in love with this thing. As I mentioned, it cooks so well. So if you guys ever bump into a BSR chef skillet, I do recommend that you guys find yourself one and give it a go. I'm sure you guys will fall in love with it as much as I have. So yeah, huge props to these skillets. They're pretty awesome. If you guys ever, as I mentioned, bump into these, give them a go. So far, very happy with the way it's seasoned. Very happy with the way it's cooked. I haven't had any issues. Cynthia says, it's your pan, and if you say T-fell, then that's what it is. I owe you and Rick D. Oh, I know, Cynthia. Oh, Cynthia, my goodness. I almost forgot about that. Cynthia, yesterday on Cast Iron Chaos, his live, we're just messing with you. It's all love. What it is there's obviously, if you guys have seen Trolls, I have kids. I have I have kiddos. And we went to the movie theaters. We went to go watch Trolls. And, my daughter, she loves that movie. And I think my wife and I laughed so hard at, they're, when they're on their way and they're searching for the brothers, they're talking, and the little guy, I think, I forget his name, the little kid looking one, but he's an adult. He has a very deep voice, and Poppy was giving him a hard time. And he turns around and he says to her, "Are you a narc?" And it's not anything offensive. I thought it was just hilarious, but she was calling him out. So as I mentioned, we're all just messing around, as the cast iron community loves to do, and I just said it just to say it. Nothing offensive, and I hope that, Cynthia, you didn't take it that way. But anyway, getting that out of the way, I did want to say something. And as I mentioned, I know that the cast iron community is great, so we're not here to make anybody feel bad. So it's all love, all right, guys? With that being said, we also have the 12-inch chef skillet from Lodge, which surprisingly, I held off on getting one of these for the longest time. I saw videos back when somebody posted here on YouTube the comparison of a smithy, the traditional skillet versus the Lodge. And I think I left a comment. I said a better review or comparison would have been if he would have used the traditional Lodge, which he didn't. He used a chef skillet just like this one, same size. And I remember that in his video, and I'm not trying to hate on him. No. In his video, he did mention, he gave, points and credit to Lodge for the sloped sidewalls. And as I mentioned, if you would have gotten the traditional, honestly, I think it would have been neck and neck, or if not, it would have been exactly the same thing. But he gave points, and he gave the edge over to Lodge, the simple fact that, it has sloped sidewalls, which chef skillets, that's what they're meant to do. They're meant to have these sloped sidewalls. And the reason being is that if you want to saute anything, they are a bit lighter, I'll be honest. If you want to saute, so if you're going to saute and you're going to use this motion here, you want the sloped sidewalls to, throw the food up in the air, but also not fling it out of the skillet, but instead bring it back in so that it's tossing and you're sauteing your food, whatever it is that you have in there. But as I mentioned, I held off from getting something like this for the longest time. And boy, have I enjoyed using this. If you guys saw the short video that I made, I did, what was it? Oh, the creamy Tuscan chicken. I did it all in this pan. And, and it was brand new, actually. That was the first thing that I cooked in it. I didn't even season it. All I did was give it a quick wash, obviously with some soap. And that's another controversial topic. But yes, I use soap. and gave it a wash, and sure enough, it did great. And then straight after cooking that meal, that was for us, for my kiddos, we did obviously, what they like, some chicken tenders. And I did chicken tenders after, so it gave it a second coat of seasoning, which, as I mentioned, this thing performed so well. I was so happy. I was like, why hadn't I given this one a try? So if you guys haven't seen these, you guys haven't checked out any of the Lodge chef skillets, give it a go, because if you can't find yourself a BSR chef skillet, this is a 10-inch. If you guys can't find yourself one of these, then the next best thing would be the Lodge. So this is a 12-inch. They do also offer a 10 and a 8. Lodge offers the 8, the 10, and the 12. Those are the only sizes they offer for the skillets, but these things work great. They also have dual handle pans and a bunch of other stuff that's chef related. Their chef collection is pretty awesome. So if you guys didn't even know that they had a chef collection, now you do. So if you guys want to, give them a look. I've used them. I think as I mentioned, I've showcased them on the channel through short videos, and very happy with those so far. So, a lot of people have asked me, well, what's the difference of the chef? Why the chef skillet? One of the reasons why, as I mentioned, why you want one is if you're going to be tossing your food or sauteing. Excuse me. You can do the motion, whatever it is. And honestly, too, if you want to get any kind of spatula in there for pancakes, it's a lot easier. So I like using the Field Company. So I like using this spatula here for pancakes, and it does a great job for flipping. So it's easier to get something in. So if you want to flip anything, it's easier to get in. That's why they call these also chef skillets. A lot easier. Same thing with the BSR. If you want to get something right at the edge, you're able to. It does better contact. There we go. Better contact there. And you're able to either do an omelet, eggs, whatever it is that you're cooking, pancakes. It's easier to get things out. So, those are the reasons why they call those chef skillets. But anyway, that is that. Well, now I want to see, and I want to catch up with the chat. Rick says, all in good, clean fun. Yes, Cynthia. We're never trying to be rude to you, Cynthia. Let's see. Cynthia Wesley says, be like that man in the movie, ghost kicking and throwing a tantrum, hollering, get off my train. I haven't seen that. I need to catch up on movies, guys. I have not seen anything. All I do is cast iron cookware and cooking and moving and going to work and trying to stay alive. Let's see. Hogwild says you need to get the 1950s Echo spatula, the longer one. It is so flexible. Yeah, actually, I have a vintage one. See, my brother got me one of the Echo ladles. Let's see if you can see that there. Can't really see it. Let's see. Well, you can, oh yeah, there you go. You can kind of see it there. So I got this ladle, and my brother, he's like, hey, do you want this? I was like, oh, heck yes. I was like, if you're not going to sell that, then I'll take it. So these are the little finds that, I've come across. Actually, I haven't come across, but my brother has come across, and I love this brand. Pretty awesome. And I understand why. This stainless steel, super nice. And believe me, Huey, I've been trying to get one of those spatulas. I've been searching everywhere to find myself a good one, a decent one. I have not been able to find anything. Otherwise, believe me, I would have one of those. Just haven't been lucky. I do remember seeing a brand new set, never used. It was white, but it was that white plastic, or not plastic. I forget what it is. It might have been porcelain. But, they were asking, I think it was like $100 for 3 spatulas. And I was like, I don't know. Maybe it was worth the money, but I never picked it up. And sure enough, it sold. So those are one of the things that I wish I did have. The other one that I use a lot is this one here, which I got from William & Sonoma. It's the high carbon stainless steel, made in the USA. And this one here is plastic. So this is one of my favorite spatulas. So if you guys are looking for a spatula, it is fairly expensive, I'll be honest, because they are sold at William and Sonoma, but made in the U.S. and great, flexibility. They work good. We're not trying to, we're not sponsored by any of these guys. We're not sponsored by anybody here on this channel. But, shout out to William and Sonoma for awesome cookware and also awesome utensils. So with that being said, let's keep going. Let me see. Let me keep reading any comments that we have here. Mercy B says, it's a good movie. What's the name of the movie, guys? Maybe I didn't see it. I didn't catch it. Hogwild says, best place is just old junk or thrift stores. I see them occasionally. If I find another, I will send you one. Yeah, if you find one, Huey, let me know, and I'll send some money over, and sure enough, you can ship it over to me. That would be awesome. With Patrick Swayze. Yes. Oh, God. What was that movie called? I know exactly what you're talking about now. Yes. My goodness. Ghost. Yes, it is called Ghost. I know what you're... Yeah. Yep. Sorry. I'm telling you guys, I'm not okay. I got so many things on my mind. Alrighty. Let's see. Val's Black Cat Rule says the hubby chided me about cutting something in a number 8, saying you don't use sharp knives in a non-stick pan. Yeah, was your pan non-stick, or were you Val's Black Cat's Rule? Was your number 8 a non-stick, or was it a cast iron pan? Also, I've heard that it is the worst way you can ruin your knife is if you actually cut on a glass surface. Glass is a lot harder than the metal. Well, I want to say dense in density. It's probably a bit more dense than metal, but I've heard that one of the worst things that you can do is use a glass surface to cut anything with a knife. So yeah, I guess it does a number on any kind of knife. So I would definitely not recommend cutting anything with your knives. If you have some really good sharp knives, just use a wood cutting board or something that is not going to ruin your knives. But I've also kind of refrained from using. My wife loves to do that. She'll grab a knife, and I'm not here to not here to talk bad about her. It's just the way she cooked. But she would also just run the knife across the pan, and these are the these are the knives that I have specifically for my wife. And not, like I said, I'm not trying to be mean, and but she obviously doesn't care about these things. I obviously do, but funny enough, I'm over here being all protective and stuff, and whatnot about my knives, and then I go and then I drop my shun knife, and that little point here got broken, and this was a birthday gift from my wife, and sure enough, I was very upset with myself. So that just goes to show that when you're being a butt and then you buy your wife her own set, yeah, that happens. So yeah, I do my best not to make fun of my wife, because God's always telling me, like, well, don't be like that, because then guess what? You're going to do something worse. And it always happens to me. But anyway, let's see. So, Luis, I was saying that I have an old lodge lid with the handle that is squared off around the edges, big spout covers, and I wonder if it is a BlackLock. William Hurt, I would like to see that. If you want, you can email me a photo at lu71787@gmail.com. And sure enough, I'll do some research for you. And I also would like to see. So yeah, send over a photo, and that way I can see what you have there. Cast Iron Kev says, I found a BSR chef. I absolutely love my BSR chef skillet. Sorry, Cynthia, I like it better than the Lodge. Huey, I agree with you, and that's nothing against the Lodge. I do know that Lodge produced something similar to the BSR skillet back in the 70s, 80s. I haven't run across any of the older chef skillets from Lodge, but I would like to. but it is a lot harder for me to run across Lodge in my area. I usually bump into a lot of BSNR. All of my BSNR skillets have been from thrift stores, not thrift stores, I'm sorry, from yard sales that my brother goes to, from estate sales, from swap meets. And, I think the only one that no. Everything has been through that. So here in the West Coast, the popularity of BSNR is just insane. We have so much BSNR stuff. So it's very easy to come by. But on the harder side is, harder to find is any of the like Martin Stove and Range, any of the favorites, CHF or the Chicago Hardware Foundry. You hardly see any of that stuff. It's very rare. Volrath, I see none of that over here either. What else is out there? Griswold, I've found several Griswold here. Actually, most of my Griswold have been from yard sales. I have a number 12 Griswold. The underside, though, is very warped. The underside is very warped, and it's very pitted. But it was a gift from my brother, which he doesn't go, he does a lot of yard sales, but he usually doesn't pick any iron for me. But he did that day, and he got me a Lodge, small block Lodge, not Lodge, I'm sorry, a small block Griswold, number 12. And, I kept it for that reason because he gifted that to me, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And sure enough, I restored it. I even showcased it, I think, a couple times on my channel here on YouTube. But I don't use it as frequent. Just, it needs a bit more work. I need to give it a couple more rounds of seasoning in order for me to start using it more. But I mean, I got so much. You guys saw my collection. What was it, 2 weeks ago? It's gotten fairly large, so it's something crazy. Let's see. Hogwild says, I understand, Louise. I hide my really nice old carbon steel butcher knife on a shelf she cannot reach. Yeah. And I also have some other stuff. Just, since we're on the topic, I guess, I also have, this was a gift from my father. He used to use this all the time when I was a lot younger, we used to go and we had a couple friends that were ranchers, and we would go and purchase either a pig or a sheep or goat, and he taught me how to butcher. So we would go to the ranch and we would go and butcher, and this is one of the knives that my father would use to kind of like, cut up the meat. Obviously, this wasn't to butcher, but it was definitely one of his knives that he would use to, once we had, a good portion of the meat out, he would use this to portion out the meat. But yeah, so this one here is something my father gave me. And shoot, you can't really see. Let me see if I put my hand behind there. It does have a name here. It's Forge Craft High Carbon. Forge Craft High Carbon. So yeah, and I have some other ones that are butcher. What are they called? The not butcher knives. Shoot, I'm having a hard time remembering. I have other knives as well that are older. But like I said, I try my best not to be mean, but I got my wife a set of the Tramontina knives, and these are pretty awesome, and they still do a good job, especially because they're, good quality. They're plastic. They're easy to clean, and all you got to do is sharpen them. That's it. They work really well. Alrighty, let's see. What else do we have? Hogwild says, it's just like that one. Oh, nice. Yeah, see? And as I mentioned, that one was a gift from my father, so pretty cool. Yeah, so in the West Coast, we get a lot of Griswold, a lot of BSNR, a few Lodge here and there. That one's always a hit and miss, but you rarely see anything else. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen any, like I said, any Martin Stove, any favorites. any of the other, like, what is it? I want to say the East Coast, like CHF, WAPAC. Never seen those. I've never seen the Ozark, the original Ozark, not the Walmart brand. Never seen any of that stuff. So yeah, it's hard to come across any of that cast iron over here in the West Coast. Papa Dan says, CHF, Martin, Volrath, and Favorite are very hard to find in my area, North Louisiana, but there are a few out there. Yeah, see, at least, as I mentioned, it's always a hit and miss for us with, like, Lodge, but with BSR and Griswold, I mean, they are a lot easier to find out here, I'll be honest. Val's Black Cat Rule says, cool, great experience in learning where your food comes from. Yeah. Am I professional at butchering animals? No, I'll be honest with you guys, I dreaded going with my father, especially because I would help him butcher it. So sometimes the rancher would be kind enough, and I say kind enough, and he would have a small little handgun. So it was a handgun, but it was almost like a stick, and then they would place it on the on the animal's forehead and give it a quick shot in the head, and sure enough, it would die instantly. There's other times where we had to butcher them the old school way, and that was always difficult. So, but we always did our best to never mistreat any of the animals. I recall one time, and I'm gonna tell you guys a quick little story, but I do recall one time just seeing and I'm not trying to be racist or anything, guys, but some family from, I want to say from South America. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Ecuador, maybe Colombia, something. I don't know. But they came over to that ranch, and instead of just giving the poor animal a quick death, they proceeded with, trying to kill it with a 2x4 to the forehead, and they would take turns on, it's pretty graphic. Take turns to hit it in the head. So that's one thing that traumatized me, and I told my father, I said, Dad, please don't ever let me do that. Please, I don't ever want to do that. And I was younger. I was about 14 years old. But no, my father was always taught very well, and I want to say very well, because we never abused any of the animals that we would, have for dinner, or, have for a party or a special occasion, or just to feed the family. But anyway, with that being said, guys, a bit controversial, I want to say. Most of you might agree, most of you might disagree, but I do want to say that what we have here, the original topic of the video is a BlackLock skillet. Now, one thing that I might do and might consider doing is I might reach out to Lodge and see if they can verify that this is possibly a BlackLock. And if they do, I'll let you guys know. But that's just, my little week this week of just restoring this No.7 and having a good time cooking with it, restoring it, and seeing this come back to life. So very happy to own this little piece of cookware. As I mentioned, my thoughts are that yes, it is indeed a BlackLock, but we'll see. As I mentioned, I'll send a message to Lodge, and we'll see what they have to say. But pretty cool. Little No.7s here. Next week, I'm hoping that I will be able, and also the other thing is I have to transfer over my services, internet services, over to the new house. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to stream finally from my new home. So be on the lookout. I'll post some updates throughout the week, and I'll let you guys know what it's looking like. And hopefully, as I said, we'll be able to stream from the new house, and we'll cook something up. Let me know. I'll have, at the end of this live, which I'm going to end pretty soon right now. At the end of this live, I'll post a little poll, and you guys let me know what you guys would want to see next week, what you guys want me to cook, or what, cookware to use or even talk about, and we'll go with that. All right, guys? Hogwild says, I have a No.9 Crescent. Number 259. It is a hefty pan. See, that's also, I think, from the East Coast, the Crescent brand. But yes, guys, as I mentioned, I think we're going to call it a night. This was just a quick video. controversial, as I mentioned, because, you know, a lot of people are going to disagree. And I'm sure once this video uploads to YouTube, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, I've had a couple of those videos. I was going to actually do a quick short of the people that leave some horrible comments. Some of them just make me laugh. But, you know, I do my best not to get involved in things like that. So when they're just, you know, I think they're hilarious, to be honest. Sometimes people just say the craziest things. I remember a comment that somebody left in one of my first videos, and I was testing the Walmart brand. I think it was Ozark Trails, the Walmart from, you know, I think it was an 8-inch or 10-inch pan. But anyway, I cooked, you know, eggs in it, and sure enough, they were sliding around, and they were giving me the hardest time for the amount of butter. And they left me a comment saying, you know, in a lake of butter like that, anything's gonna slide, nothing's gonna get stuck. And I'm like, well, that's not the point. That's not true at all. Actually, I've had eggs stick on me with, you know, a 1/4 inch of oil in the bottom of the pan. So no, it's not necessarily when I first started cooking. I'm telling you guys, I had the hardest times cooking eggs, but now, you know, it's all about heat control and good surface, good seasoning. I'll be honest, sometimes the seasoning does help out a bit, and maybe that'll be a topic that we talk about, seasoning and how that helps out a bit. I know a lot of people have posted videos where they say seasoning is just to protect, and I agree 100%. Yes, it is to protect, but I also think it does give it some special properties in aiding with the non-stick ability of the cast iron cookware. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys have a lovely night. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Also, if you guys can, you know, I'll be posting up that poll, and let me know what you guys want to see for next week. With that being said, have a lovely weekend, guys. I will catch you guys next week, and hopefully we'll be streaming in the new home. So this will be the last live here at this house. So with that being said, good luck to everybody. Have a safe and lovely weekend. I will catch you guys on the next live. Good night. Bye. Good night, guys. Bye-bye. Don't you guys love this BlackLock?